Добрый день, уважаемые участники.
Good morning, dear. Good morning, dear participants of Adam Smith Conference. I'm grateful for inviting me here 2 years in a row, and every time I speak about Mongolia, and every time I bring something new. So I'm sure that both you and me, listening to the presenters, learn something new. The first thing that I would like to outline, I was very pleased to hear from Mr. Skopov about the Technical University of UGMK. Just 2 weeks ago, I spoke in Skolkovo in Mongolia, where I invited my senior peer from Mr. Odesaren. He is now CEO of the company Erdenet. So we discussed possibilities of cooperation in education for Mongolians, but there is a history of there is a record of work together, but we need to resume our joint efforts. So that's something that is of interest for the Mongolian side. I believe that one of the major and renewable resources is actually our people, specialists, the personnel. It's good when there is continuity in education and in personnel. Now we'll get to Mongolia. So Mongolia is a country which is historically not high profile. It was known back in the Soviet times as a very rich resource base and good partner in geology and natural resources mining. Then there was some break in their relations or pause or not active relations, but the 2 last years I've been working on the development of relationship building with Mongolia. I work with ministries and also owners of assets. Also copper, wolfram, molybdenum, and cobalt and gold miners. So this presentation is my attempt to share my personal experience in this work and the data that I work. Data that is recently collected from Kokhnor Amdesaren, with whom we spoke at Skolkovo. So the statistics will be of interest for you, I believe. So Mongolia. The territory of Mongolia is about 1.5 thousand square kilometers. The population is over 3 million people. GDP is it takes 118th place in the world, and it's about 12 billion US dollars. And 46% falls on service. Industry takes 37%, although I thought they are more in mining, but it happens that services takes more, and agriculture takes 17%. I'll get straight to the narrow field data. So we'll get to mining and deposits. So deposits. Deposits as of 2016 in million tons. Copper, 87 million tons. Coal, 175 billion tons. It's not million, but billion. Then get 1.2 iron ore in billion tons. Gold in million tons. 2.5, and zinc zinc and plavik that we buy 3 million tons, uranium 170, and that's enough for statistics. And these statistic figures are available on deposits. You are very welcome. I'm eager to share with you. I have an office here in Vozdvizhenka, representative office, but the business unit is in Mongolia. So Mongolian or Mongolia Mining works on systemic attraction of private and institutional investments in developing and mining of deposits at an extended phase. That by this we mean if it is a small if it is a new deposit, so $2.5 million were invested in exploration. We are more or less clear about the reservoir and about the bedrock, and then when we are clear about the volume of the deposit, it is marketable. It becomes marketable and ready to be sold. Everything that I do with in copper, that's I work with Erdenet, and maybe we'll work on zinc concentrate. But now, for better or for worse, all of it goes to China. So we and I, as director of the company and the founder of the company, focus on structuring of deals. Because somebody is to do things manually. That's what I do with my phone calls and email. I have a number of owners in Mongolia who are interested in selling of their major part, or sometimes their old deposits. Well, we should be objective. There is a certain grain of mistrust when working with deposits there, and I'm very conservative with the choice of words. But you just should know that closer. You should channel your energy there and your attention. I think ancient Chinese said about that. So the eastern vector of development at the level of the government was underlined more than once, and President Putin spoke about that as a potential vector, as a new vector of development. So we're to go east, and many of us present here I've kept track of forums in Ufa when presidents of Russia, Mongolia, and China met to work on the Silk Road project. My colleague Hangai works on this issue, so if new Silk Road is of interest for somebody, just at least at the level of information, you're very welcome to turn to me for this. We understand that this sort of work is not done in vacuum. It is definitely done to improve Russian-Mongolian relations with the prospect of a joint venture. And Mongolia is between Russia and China. And it is more comfortable for them to work with us, but China is much closer. So China is present in Erdenet as one of the shareholders, and all zinc concentrate is channeled goes not the way I wish that to go, but we are to look for new deposits that could be taken beyond the frame of their relations and do that on a legal basis. I want to speak some words about mapping. What is the current situation with mapping in Mongolia. Only 35%, I'll take the figures from the cuff, not to get into the computer, just about 35% of the territory was mapped. We have geological maps with a lot of information that has not been studied. The mapping was done back in the Soviet times, and that was done jointly. Much data was lost. Well, actually, they were not. The data was not lost, and partially they stayed in Mongolia, partially they stayed in Russia. So currently, my other project is to set up a joint institute or organization, better say, that will be tackling this issue of data collection. And I think that the best solution for that would be that a major mining company or structure from Russia gets interest in that, and I believe we understand which company I mean. So I'll finish where I started, actually, education. The 3 million that I mentioned includes nomads and oligarchs. They close their issues with regards to the financial aspects. They all decide for themselves where to live in yurtas, in the local huts, or some other way. They, at some point, they try to follow the Dubai fashion and to hand out money, so-called folk bonds. But now they streamlined their business according to the international standards. Just a couple of words about legislation. About 3 years ago, they passed a law on investment that protects foreign investors much better than 4 years before. So homework has been done. Prime Minister made a good roadshow, went to London, to New York, gave some interviews to key financial publications, and the level of trust went up. So the remaining questions are welcome to be answered and asked during coffee break. Thank you very much.